Parshas Terumah. This week's Parsha begins with a description of the collection enterprise for the raw materials with which to build both the Mishkan, the tabernacle, and its kelim, and its vessels. The Torah begins as follows. Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe lemor, common introduction. Hashem said to Moshe as follows, or saying, Daber el bnei Yisrael, speak to the children of Israel, v'yikchu li Terumah, and let them take from me a portion. Me'es kol ish asher yidvenu libo, from every man whose heart motivates him, tikchu es Terumasi, take the Terumah. So there's some question about why take, why not every man whose heart motivates him shall give. The commentaries say on this that once a person designates a contribution to the Mishkan, so then it can be taken from him forcibly, even if he changes his mind. In other words, once he makes the dedication, that dedication is locked in. He's not required to make that dedication, but once he does, it's in. Okay. Yidvenu libo. Me'es kol ish asher yidvenu libo. From every man whose heart motivates him. What does that mean? So you could say that it simply means that he's charitably inclined, and that seems to be the way Rashi explains it. Rashi says yidvenu, lashon nedava. It's the language of contribution, like yidvenu. V'hu lashon ratzon tov. It means goodwill. Somebody is charitably inclined, he's of goodwill, he gives. That's yidvenu. Libo, his heart. Well, what does it mean here? It obviously doesn't mean his physical heart, that his heart is giving. So what does it mean? So frequently we think that the word heart refers to the seat of emotions. But if we look at the Gemara in Yerushalmi, this is quoted by the Meforshim. If we look at the Yerushalmi, the Yerushalmi actually extrapolates the halacha here of who's qualified to give these contributions to another type of contribution, which is called Terumah. That's a mandatory contribution. And that Terumah is the amount that's taken off the produce of a field that a farmer produces. And he gives a portion, either a 50th or 1/40th or 1/60th. It's discretionary as to the amount. And the Gemara derives from the similar, identical usage of Terumah that qualifications for giving Terumah to the Mishkan, to the tabernacle, apply to the giving of the Terumah from the agricultural produce. So what does the Gemara say about the qualifications? So it says there are 5 categories of people who, if they give their Terumah, it's not Terumah. And among them is Cheresh, Shota, V'Katan, a common triplet of expression to refer to people who have diminished capacity. Cheresh is somebody, according to most Meforshim, it's somebody who is born as a deaf mute, can neither hear nor speak. Shota is either a fool or a deranged person. A katan is a minor, below the age of 12 for a girl and below the age of 13 for a boy. So they can't give Terumah. And if they do, it doesn't count. They're not in the same category, though, as far as the proof text, the sources for understanding this. The Gemara says that, this is the Yerushalmi in Terumos, says, Me'es kol ish prat l'katan, from every man, meaning an adult. So it excludes a katan. Then it says, Asher yidvenu libo, whose heart motivates him to give, prat l'cheresh v'shota. That excludes the deaf mute and the deranged person. So first of all, we have a question about why do we need separate verses if we're talking about a general bucket, a general category of diminished capacity? Then you would think that for whatever Yidvenu Libo does, it does it for a minor, for katan, as well as a deaf mute and a deranged person. But why does it exclude a deaf mute and a deranged person? Let's say they do have diminished capacity. Let's say they can't function the way typically abled people can function, but they have desire. They have motivation. If people line up to give and they give, they're giving. It's the same act as everybody else. So why would they be excluded based on a nediv lev. Rashi says it's ratzon tov. Person wants to give. So listen to this Gemara. This is the explanation of the Gemara. The Rash Sirilio, he says that prat lecheresh v'shota she'ein lahen lev. They don't have a heart. What does that mean? Dahaino da'as usvara. That is the ability to reason, understanding, and the ability to reason. And he quotes a proof text. In other words, lev means what we would call a mind of full capacity. And he quotes the verse from Koheles, from Ecclesiastes 1:16, which reads, Dibarti ani im libi, I said to myself, to my mind, I said to myself, Ani lemor, saying, Ani hine higdalti v'hosafti chachma, I have matured, I have gained wisdom, al kol asher hayol lefanai, al Yerushalmi, on everything that happened. This is Shlomo Melech speaking, King Solomon, on everything that happened before me in Jerusalem. V'libi ra'ah harbe chochma v'das, and my lev has seen, has had much experience with wisdom and knowledge. Libi, my mind, because what has wisdom and knowledge? It's the mind. Now we talk about a wise heart, but we don't really mean the heart is wise. So what is it that's wise? It's mind. I mean, Western philosophy has had a bit of a challenge understanding the phenomenon of consciousness, of what it means to think, and how this material being, flesh and blood, can have something that operates, which appears to be sensed independent of any physical sensations. The soul inside the machine, if you will. It's a conundrum that's perplexed many scientists, how human beings have consciousness. But whatever that consciousness is, that mind, we do know that there are certain standards of capacity to reason, capacity to understand. And according to the Gemara, what the Torah is saying is, Kol isha she'idvenu libo may in fact have Rashi's meaning, which is a charitable inclination, but it is based on this notion that somebody has a certain level of understanding and ability to reason. Why would that be? Why would that be necessary? Why not, hey, I want to give, hey, I want to give, and then a little kid says, I want to give, and somebody with diminished mental capacity also wants to give. Why not? Apparently, and this can go a couple of ways, but apparently being mindful or understanding of the significance of giving away, giving something to a cause, in this case a cause of Kedusha, it is a requirement for that contribution to be meaningful. In other words, what the Torah is doing is not simply saying, hey, we need money, we got to get it wherever we can, beg, borrow, steal. We got to get money. We have to get materials with which to construct the Mishkan. The answer is no. What we need are people who are understanding that they are sacrificing something and they are dedicating it to something which is of Kedusha. And this gives us a heightened awareness of the notion of contribution and dedication to Kedusha. It's not just a sense of this is what I want, but it's a sense of I understand that this is the right thing, and I understand that I am going to give voluntarily of my treasure because it's important. Everybody likes their treasure. In fact, there are some Meforshim who say that this Yidvenu Libo is actually a double entendre, and it implies a charitable inclination, but it also implies a bit of a hesitance, or even as much as a remorse or a sadness at parting with your physical possessions. The impact of the giving apparently is not simply on the receipt. It's not simply on the collection or aggregation of these materials, but it's also the impact on the giver. The giver has to understand that he's giving, and that what he's giving is valuable, and that he's missing out when he gives it away, but that he's getting something more valuable than the possession that he's giving away. And what he's getting is the ability to support a holy endeavor. And for that, you need to have a lev. For that, you need to have a mind. Good Shabbos.